everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my sewing and craft room tour. I asked you all in a recent video if you would want to see a room tour, and some of you guys said yes. So here we are. If you're new here, my name is Tabitha. I have a small business, Tab's Art Shop, where I sell handmade bookmarks, stickers, cards. I taught myself how to sew almost exactly a year ago. And over the last year, my business has been leaning a lot more on sewing content. So you can kind of see a sneak peek here of all of my fabrics, but I just love sharing my journey with you all. I have documented this entire year learning how to sew, making brand new items, and each collection that I've launched for my small business. Which, if you're watching this video, you're gonna get a sneak peek of all the fabrics I picked out today for my next collection, which I'm so excited for. But let's just go ahead and jump right into the sewing and craft room tour. Okay, so when you first walk in my craft room, I have these sticker drawer organizers to the right side. If you didn't know, I actually started my shop turning my illustrations into stickers. I got these from the Container Store. I will try and link as much stuff as I can down in the description. So if you see anything you're interested in, hopefully you'll find a link down below. Otherwise, just leave a comment and I will let you know where I got it. I have a few random bookmarks that I still need to cut that I illustrated to match book sleeves. Then behind the door is where I have my painting easel, which, to be honest, I could not tell you the last time I actually used it. I definitely need to give it some love. But underneath the sticker drawers, I have an acrylic organizer where I keep all of my cellophane, bookmark tassels, and a drawer where I keep stickers or thank you cards from other small businesses. So these ones are really cute from Catnip Studios. So after the sticker drawers, we have my fabric area, which is definitely becoming my favorite area of my craft room. And my collection of fabrics has grown a lot because I have no self-control when I go fabric shopping. So what I've done with this area is up at the top here, I've created like mini bolts. So I use the chipboard and just roll the fabric around the chipboard. And that's how I create these bolts, which makes it so easy to just grab the fabric I want. Right here, we have a bunch of my pre-made book sleeves. So a bunch of my spring collection and my very first collection I ever launched. Over here, I just randomly put this Beatrix Potter Complete Tales. I actually bought this last year for my birthday when I went to some new bookstore, and I just thought it was so cute and I could not resist. I'm a big time reader, which you will see during this tour. I have a lot of books just kind of everywhere. Then we go down a shelf and I just have more fabric. These are all just kind of folded, but I try to keep it where I can see every design and just be able to pull it out. Then underneath all of the fabric, I have these canvas pullouts where I just have a bunch of packing supplies. The first one has larger bubble mailers, tape, and a bunch of my mess up products. The middle one is full of envelopes. And the last one is where I have all of my bubble mailers and my custom ones, which are so cute with these little strawberries. Final spot for this cubicle shelf here is everything up top. I have my quarter rounders for my bookmarks, my eyelet setter also for bookmarks and adding the tassel, bunch of my handmade cards here, and then last thing up here is full of sticker sheets, stamps, and more bookmarks. After all of that, we have my bookshelf. I have a bunch of my special editions from Fairy Loot. One of my favorites is Alchemized by Sinlin Yu, who's the author of Manacled, which is one of my favorite stories I've ever read. It is a Hermione fan fiction, which brings me into these. These are actually Hermione fan fictions that I bound myself. So one of my prized possessions on this bookshelf. I have 3 here and I have 2 more that are on other shelves, but I love these. I also adore this Kiki's Delivery Service special edition. I'm a huge Kiki fan, which you'll be able to tell by a lot of the things in my room. Also on this bookshelf is where I store all of my handmade bookmarks. I just use these tiered organizer. I think these are actually made for like eyeshadow palettes, but they work perfectly for organizing my bookmarks. Next shelf down, a bunch of other special editions from Fairy Loot and Outcrate. But pretty much this entire bookshelf is special edition books and bookmark. This is just like a box of random fabric quarters, scrunchies I've made, kind of just randomness in that. But I keep a bunch of my scraps in this little mushroom ottoman. So this is just full of fabric scraps. So I really need to do a video very soon making stuff out of scraps. And then behind here, I just have a bunch of paper, sticker paper. But then we have what I like to call my cozy corner. So I have this large barrel chair and I have some jelly cats and pillows that I've made myself. So I do have some sewing videos on these if you're interested, but I think they turned out so cute and I definitely want to make more pillows. And Theo obviously loves this spot. He really loves to get underneath this fuzzy blanket. He's so cute. I'm starting to put all of my embroidery on my wall and just have a nice display of all of the embroidery that I've done. So I have 2 up right now. Then just a couple other little things on this shelf that I put behind this chair. As I mentioned, I have a bunch of Kiki's Delivery Service stuff around my room. So I have this large picture that I love. I think it's so cute. And then moving over to the left side of my cozy corner is my workstation. So this is where I have my Cricut Explorer Air 2 and my Canon Pixma IP8720 printer. I bought both of these when I first started my business and they are going strong. I highly recommend them. Underneath that, I have these pull-out drawers. The first couple shelves are actually organized, so I have all of my wristlets. Then I have my packing tissue paper for all of my orders. Then we get a little bit jumbled in what I would call my junk drawers. So there's a bunch of random stuff in this one. The last one is actually pretty organized. It's where I store all of my bookbinding supplies. Then we move over to the left one. I have sticker paper in the top drawer. The second drawer is all of my pre-made stickers that are just ready to be cut. These final 2 do actually have a theme, kind of. So this is all clay supplies and the bottom one is paper crafts. Moving down, we have my laptop that I use for my Cricut and printer, sublimation machine, my label printer, more books, and also what I would kind of call my nerdy corner. So first up is the sublimation printer, which I have not used in quite some time. I really need to print something and just make sure the ink is not dried up. I also have some ink cartridges that I need to take to Office Depot to recycle. And then, as I mentioned, my label printer, and then just a bunch of my figurine collectibles. So anime, Nintendo, Pokemon, Sailor Moon, all of that. Yes, I'm a huge nerd, but I love them. And then of course, more special edition books and randomness underneath, and also Theo's bed. Next to that shelf, we have my sewing area. You all, of course, have seen this area a bunch, but we have my sewing machine, which is the XR3774. I've been using this sewing machine since I started a year ago. Absolutely love it. It has been incredible for a beginner. So since adding the serger machine, I've had to move this organizer behind the sewing machine. So this is where I store my elastic, sewing clips, some of my pencil cases, labels, all kinds of different things that I use for sewing. I actually initially bought this tiered shelf for our kitchen area, but it was way too big. So it's actually pretty convenient to store a bunch of my sewing tools. So then we move above my sewing area and I just have some pictures, a magnetic board, of course, more Kiki's Delivery Service, and Totoro. I also put up some notes on my sewing measurements just so it's right there. Then, of course, my serger machine, which has been really nice for sewing clothing. The chair I use is just a large crisscross chair. Nothing special. I can't actually crisscross in it while I'm sewing. But one thing I did do is I added some vinyl wrap to these desks. So you'll see also on my main kind of computer area, I added this wrap and it just adds a nice contrast wood texture. So to the left side of that is where I have a plastic organizer. Above it, I have a bunch of my iron-on fleece and interfacing, a few sewing projects, and my wristlet clamp to add the hardware. Then we go in the drawers and it is not organized at all. Just a bunch of sewing supplies and tools and all of my zippers, and the very bottom drawer is photo paper. To the left of that is just where I have my quilting rulers and a mat. Going into the closet is another just giant mess. I have a bunch of holiday decor, extra fabric, patterns, my large batting bundles, and my Cricut vinyl. So we just kind of keep that space out of sight, out of mind. Here I have a little, what do you call this, like tiered shelf. So of course, more books. I also have my vintage sewing patterns up here that I purchased when we went antique shopping. So if you want to see that, you can definitely go check that out on my channel. I have some pencil cases, my laminator, the microphone that I'm actually using right now. In front, I have some large bolts, and on the very bottom, I have more bookbinding supplies. So some of my areas definitely have a purpose and a theme. Other areas, as I mentioned, are junk drawers and corners. Moving down to my desk, here is a quick overview. I've been making paper garlands for the season, so I have up a pink florals for spring. Up top, I have some of my illustrations, a special edition of Twilight, and then just a bunch of decor that I've purchased from Michael's or Hobby Lobby, and more Jellycats. On my desk, I have this pink keyboard, cloud rest, and mouse. A bunch of this I definitely have linked down below if you want to check anything out. I have a stack of patterns, and underneath another large thing of fabric scraps. Okay, last area to tour my craft room is my middle standing desk. This is a Vivo. I just keep it in the same position because it's perfect for cutting fabric and ironing. Underneath it, I have another cube shelf. So this is where I store all my bookmark paper, heat press, my iron and heat mat, and then just some extra batting and a random heat glove. And in between the two, I just have some random patterns and poly mailers. Okay, let me show you a sneak peek of the upcoming collection. I think I'm going to call this Midsummer Meadows. So cute. I'm very excited for this collection. So here is a quick sneak peek of what I have picked out so far. I will share a close-up of all of these in my next video when we actually get started on sewing. I did film actually shopping for all of these fabrics. So in my next video, I'll do a creating a collection from scratch where I show you shopping, how I picked out the fabrics, coming up with names, and start sewing everything for the new collection. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Bye.